Salt and acid. Ready? Here you go for my notes. Salt is called sodium chloride, and the sodium chloride in a container will last longer than I will last. Basically, if you have a container of sodium chloride, table salt, and the day that your son or daughter is born, and you leave it on the shelf, and you die, and they become grandparents, the salt is still good. Something about Mother Nature's and salt mines. And it comes in many different forms, and the quality for it can be just as different because of the flavors from where it comes from. Best known is table salt that you can buy at the store, and it can have added to it potassium iodine for people who have problems with deficiency in iodine in their things. It's also, I think, adding salt to the mixture helps. Sea salt. What is it? Galt? I could be wrong. I just somewhere in my background is that it's for galt. But it also keeps it. You can put other stuff into it, like cornstarch, to keep it from lumping. And I use rice in my salt shakers to keep it from lumping. What kind of salt we talking about? Well, in the food industry, it's kosher salts, because kosher can come in different sizes. It's better than just table salt. It's basically is table salt, but it comes in different crystal forms, and different brands are different crystal forms, and it's all kosher, and it's a specified type of salt. And as someone says, different brands have different crystal sizes. Sea salts, okay, are for cooking, and they come in different sizes. Okay, you've seen the sea salts, the big pans laid out, and there is specialty salt. So there is this little thing is they scoop off salt from the tops. Seem to be a little bit different from the salts, the regular. Those are especially in the more expensive salts for cooking. I would think, I can't say for this for sure, but some companies refine that salt down. They take it from the seawater, and then they refine the salts. They take away, remember, seawater is pumped into the salt flats, and everything that's in the seawater goes into the salt flats. And some companies will refine that sea salt by removing particles that would come along with it. Something about having well, it's dry fish in there, isn't it? Yes. You want the sea salt, but not everything else that's in the sea. For foreign countries that do not have to have regulations, that salt goes into whatever they're going to be doing with it. It's questionable. You go to a foreign country, you may want to take a good look at what you're putting on your food. But it's sea salt. No, it's also everything else from the sea. Gee, is that a shark? Yes. Now, As I said down here, USDA need not apply to looking at the salts of clothes, and they basically reject a lot of stuff that comes in. You know, they open up the container and look inside. They basically, if it isn't too hard, it's like a magnifying glass, and they reject the stuff. They say go take it back. So foreign companies do not want to deal with the USDA. There is especially salts like potassium chloride that is used in place of sodium chloride. Make sure it's a chloride. Potassium chlorate. I've used potassium chlorate for etching potassium chlorate and hydrochloric acid for etching copper plates. They give it a green crystal. Yeah, it's a slow etch on the copper plates. But as I said, chlorate is an explosive. I think if I remember, somebody from the Weathermen in New York was making chlorate bombs. That's what they figured. And they said the whole building went up and came down. They simply they leveled the building. They were mixing potassium chlorate and sulfur together, and the sulfur they were using, it does explode with a big bang. The sulfur that seems that they've been using had too much acid in the sulfur, and it reacted violently. Yeah. So watch yourself. You know, no chlorate, only chloride. Oh, seasonal salts. Seasoned salts, yeah, are table salt mixed with herbs and spices that you can, like McCormick spices. Okay, color salts are salts that have colored minerals mixed in, used for show and can add color to your foods. Okay, the problem with various flavors of salt is for cook or the problem is in salt. When they say add salt in your recipes, it's what kind of salt are they talking about? Kosher salt, which is usually kosher salt. If they don't specify kosher salt, and then they have to specify the size of the crystals, because too fine of a crystal, you're going to add too much salt to it. Too large of a crystal may not be enough salt. And of course, salt for me is a restricted diet salt. I do not add salt to my foods. Period. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Popcorn salt is different than regular salt. It's usually kosher, fine kosher salts, crystals, which is, as I say, mix that with butter and it's delicious. But again, restricted diet of salt per day. Yes, gotta watch your salts. And there is something called curing salts. It's not for human consumption. And curing salts contain nitrates and nitrites. These are the same ones that are used in gunpowder. And this, around the world, salts. What was that 2 cities in ancient Jewish state that blew up? Yeah, that's those things. Their stuff, their source of salts were for curing meat. Potassium nitrate. Boom! It goes off. Even a small amount releases a lot of oxygen, and literally, when it catches fire, it goes poof, and when it's confined, it goes boom. Try it if you want to get some of this. Go to Menards, which I've used before, And you can buy it in small plastic containers, potassium nitrate, and it's used for taking out, I used it for drilling holes, like cut down a tree, drill holes in my stump, and then you pour this stuff in there, you let it sit for a while, you add water and let it sit for a while, and then you drop a match in it. And it soaks into the root system and burns all the way down. Great. Otherwise, don't eat it. You get sick. Basically it's a toxin. And don't give it to your children. Okay. They're used to kill off harmful bacteria in the thing. Botulism is a good thing in meats. And the different with this stuff, they're all dyed a dark pink, so as not for human consumption. Okay, it's not like the pink salts you get from the Himalayas, or the brown. I've got this thing, a brown slab of salt from the Himalayas that you use for putting steak. You do your steak in that. You throw your steak on there. It soaks up some salt and really thing. Now I'm going to talk about acids. Best known to give foods a taste of being sour, giving a ting to foods without the sour smell. In the dry state, they have a long shelf life. In a wet form, they are perishable. If used, acids if used in cooking, the heat will attack the flavor. But when used on foods just before serving, they're like lemon juices. I'm talking about lemon juices. Okay, okay. To understand, don't cook with this stuff, but use it for on stuff. You like lemon drinks or lemon dashes, that stuff. As you're serving the food, then it gives that taste to it. I have here. I've ever noticed the bottles of orange juice, grapefruit juice, lemon juice, and other citric juices. There's a coating of sludge on the bottom of the bottle. Yes, and it can happen. It does happen, and that's always particles from, say, the citric juices filtering out. Nothing wrong. You just take your bottle and shake it up. Yes. Citric acid is found in soda, in your soda cans. It gives that. I think it is there to give a slight kick to the drink because it covers the flavor of caffeine, which is extremely sour. You can find caffeine in your tea and coffee, and also cocoa beans. It covers that taste, that sour taste. And if you really want to get pure form of citric acid, cut open a lemon and squeeze. That's basically what they get crystal citric acid from, is lemon juice. Malic acid is found in apples. Tartaric acid is from grapes and is in wines. Ascorbic acid is found in many forms since it is a vitamin C, and it has that benefit, and you will find it added to anything they can do that will not, the heat will not kill it. I believe vitamin C can be neutralized with heat. Then you got the ethic fruits and acids that are found in specialty stores. Vinegars both classified vinegars and acid. It's extracting from many plants, and again, usually in ethics stores. And except, hey, here's another one for acetic acid. Pickles! Which must have been very interesting because it's been around for eons, thousands of years. The Greeks had it, the Babylonians had it, the Romans had it. It was used for pickling your meat. I don't know about, I'm not too sure fishes, but most likely fishes. And then they, of course, vinegar will pickle fruits. I don't like it. I only like cucumbers that are pickled. Cucumbers that are pickles. Okay, I think that's pretty well my thing on chemistry. I don't know if I should go beyond this point because a lot of it starts coming into the foods themselves. I've got to make a decision because it can get extremely lengthy, especially when you're dealing in cooking foods. There's a whole procedures of like storage of foods, which is extensive if you don't store your food right, and it can become buggy. It's like taking chocolate. You don't want to know what's in chocolate. It's a process, and it's like nuts, candies. Add a little heat to your candy and see what happens. Maybe absolutely nothing, but if you start finding moths in it, yes, I worked in a candy factory. I tell you one thing. Yes. Peanuts. You open up a peanut bag and all these little moths fly out. Oh, that's awful. No, that's true. The eggs from this stuff, when they harvest the stuff and they process the stuff, insects' eggs, if you don't wash them and dry them and process them right, things grow. And what do they do for that? Oh, well, if they have a furnace, they add heat. But again, a lot of foods like, especially anything, it's a nut. You have to cook. You have to cook it in, literally cook it in oil, peanuts and peanut oil, and you have to bring it up to a temperature that will kill anything that's inside there. Yes. Because if you don't, you got little things flying around. Yes, yeah, there's, and as someone says, where does all the bugs come from? The peanuts they buy, the nuts they buy. Yes, and the candy company they had peanut oil for roasting peanuts. And still, after a certain time, your nuts will fly away. Oh, I'm not too sure I want to continue. I got things like this to talk about. I'm not too sure. There's food chemistry, and then there's food chemistry and baking. Baking foods. There's that food chemistry, and that really start getting into detail. I'm not too sure. I'll let Toberman. He's a chef more than I am. He went through the schools, and he's listed as something or other, something or blah. It's like Julian Childs. I'm not there to maybe compete with all the cooking shows on PBS, or all the cooking shows you can find in the libraries, or all the cooking books that are in the library. Even though my library is no longer like that. Somebody says, why do I have all these books here? I'm not going to do all these cookings and all these procedures. My kitchen isn't built that way. I think I just stick with my microwave. Can I ruin a good steak in my microwave? You better know it. I can ruin pizza in my microwave too. Okay. How sweet it is.